I just want to talk really quickly with everyone about who Mass CEC is, why we run a program like Solarize and what it's all about. Quick high level on the technologies so that everyone can learn a little bit more before hearing from their installers, and then we'll talk next steps in getting started. So Mass CEC, we're a quasi-state agency. We were created by an act of legislation, and we gain our funding from the Renewable Energy Trust. That's that small surcharge on ratepayer utility bills. And with that, we're tasked with helping grow the clean energy economy in Massachusetts and help meet the Commonwealth's climate and clean energy goals. The slide here that you see is pretty busy, but what it's really just trying to demonstrate is that we approach this in a multifaceted way, whether it's investing in innovation infrastructure, technology, workforce, or company development, or the little piece of the puzzle here that you can see on the bottom, focused on adoption, where we run programs like Solarize and help folks like you all hopefully learn about these programs and the technologies and hopefully adopt them. So with that, I just want to give a little overview on Solarize. Mike categorized it really well. It's a community-based and driven education, outreach, and group purchasing campaign led by your fantastic volunteers. The program itself was launched in 2011, so about a decade ago. And since then, we've been in 20% of Massachusetts communities. And Yarmouth, so therefore, is joining a fantastic cohort of other communities that have done this program before. So we've got a lot of data and results, and know that folks are saving on average from 13 to 21% on PV, and also getting some fantastic deals as well on other clean energy technologies. Wanted to share a little quote from a previous volunteer. Working with Mass CEC was a wonderful experience, and it made me proud to live in Massachusetts. And I just wanted to say that that's really likewise. It's always a pleasure to go into communities like yours and meet you all and help you learn about these technologies. So with that, like I mentioned before, the program is a partnership, and it really centers around your community volunteer team. Mike introduced himself, of course, and the fact that this is really a community-driven program, but just wanted to highlight the fact that these folks have been working really hard, and they're really kind of the crux of this program. So if you ever get a chance to talk to any of the folks on your volunteer team, thank them. They've been hard at work at this for over a year and a half, close to a year and a half at this point, which is pretty fantastic. And they've been responsible for helping select your installers here tonight, and doing all the on-the-ground marketing work to help you all learn about the program. Mass CEC, of course, is a partner, helping kind of fund and do some education. Your installers are a key partner as well. They're going to be your technical expert. They're offering you free site assessments, and they're also your turnkey contractor, which means they're helping you from your site visit through contracting, installation, and beyond. It's also important to highlight that you all in the community have a really important role. You get to learn about these technologies and ideally adopt them, but really help the grassroots networking effect of a program like this, and tell your friends and neighbors, fellow business owners about the program, and hopefully help them adopt it as well. So I mentioned the Solarize Mass program was launched in 2011. In 2017, we launched the Plus program, which is what Yarmouth is participating in. And essentially, it's the addition of solar PV plus additional technologies. And in this case, air source heat pumps. And the reason behind this is it's a well-known data that greenhouse gas emissions in Massachusetts largely come from electricity and heating. And when you drill that down into mass household energy use, it's also largely due to, again, space heating and cooling. And so when we've got an opportunity to pair a lot of these technologies with solar PV, for example, we have an opportunity to first clean up our electricity, or green it, if you like to view it that way, but then also to then electrify our heating and cooling, and in a lot of ways, virtually eliminate those greenhouse gas emissions that are coming out of our household. So really great opportunity there. And so through the program, then you get the opportunity to learn about multiple technologies, get quotes for both technologies under the program, and feasibly use solar and or electricity to heat and cool your home. So there's a lot to potentially be gained here. Like I said before, Solar PV, battery storage, and air source heat pumps are the technologies which your installer is going to dig into a bit more later. And one of the things I just wanted to set the stage with is, again, why a lot of this hinges on PV and why we're so excited about it being sort of the starting or launching point for the electrifying of the heating and cooling of your home. So just taking a look at world energy use, so we can see how it compares to finite energy reserves, the ones that are not renewable. And you can see how quickly our energy use is going to start eating those away. And then when we start looking at renewables, we see we're kind of getting there. These values are seeming to match up, and they're also, these values are available per year, so it is renewable. So you can see how we're starting to kind of get there. And then when we kind of put solar into the mix, we can really see how abundant it is, and how it's a great launching pad for all of these other electrified technologies, and especially around heating and cooling. So just wanted to highlight that there. And finally, about clean energy in Massachusetts, just wanted to give you a little picture of the fact that a lot of this is out there. Friends and neighbors have it. It's a lot of these technologies really are time tested and trusted, and it's hard to visualize on this slide, but essentially what you can see here is all those sort of sections of kind of light blue. Those are actually all air source heat pump installations, and those are only ones that we're aware of through our programs. So you can see how many people have these technologies, and also all of the yellow dots are all of the solar PV installations. That's a bit more accurate because we have a bit more data on that through our programs, but you can see how it's really widely adopted throughout the state. And so there's probably a friend and neighbor that you have that you can go ahead and maybe go ahead and check out their system. So just wanted to show that there as well. And the last thing that I just wanted to share before passing it off to the installers was to talk just a little bit about the fact that there's a lot of rebates available to help support your adoption of these technologies. For air source heat pumps, the entity called Mass Save offers 2 rebates, or I should say 2 supportive opportunities. The first is a direct cash rebate available for folks that have oil, electric resistance, and propane. And there is also a smaller rebate available for gas customers, but the bigger impact is going to be with those fossils. And MassSave also offers a heat loan, which is a 0% loan for 7 years for up to $25,000. So a really awesome opportunity to help finance your system. There's also a program called Alternative Energy Certificates. I didn't put a value there because it's a market-based incentive, so it is going to vary based on your system. So your installer is going to be able to talk to you a bit more about what they're seeing on the market currently. And MassCC does also offer a whole home rebate. So if you're in a position where you have a gas home, a home heated by gas, and you're interested in possibly doing a whole home solution, then you might have a good opportunity there. And so that rebate is going to range from $2,500 to $5,000 and varies based on income. So a lot of really great opportunities for air source. For solar PV and batteries, there are state and federal tax incentives available. You have a tax incentive for up to $1,000 in Massachusetts, and that's based off of the total cost of your system. And the federal income tax credit is 26% of the total cost of your system. So you have an opportunity to feasibly get a federal tax incentive for 26% of the cost of your system, which is like lopping off a third of the cost there. So it's a pretty good deal if you have a tax appetite, of course. There's also production-based incentives out of the Department of Energy Resources. That's another cash incentive that you basically get for the production that's coming out of your system that you put out onto the grid. That's also going to vary, so talk to the installer about that. Net metering is an opportunity to feasibly zero out your electricity bill by essentially agreeing to kind of distribute your PV out to the grid. So another really great opportunity there. That's not a cash incentive, but you can carry over your credits month to month. For the battery, MassSave also offers that heat loan to finance the battery, which is a really nice opportunity. And the utilities also offer a program called Connected Solutions, Bring Your Own Device, which is a way to essentially opt in, allow the utilities to access your device during a peak event in the summer or the winter, and basically pay you cash for it. So all of these rebates stack on top of each other for both technologies. So really great opportunities there. Obviously, I threw a lot at you. Every situation is different. That's why you've got your installers that are out there being able to give you those site assessments, talk about your individual situation, and kind of help you understand how it'll all fit together. So with that, just want to remind you to, of course, go ahead and sign up for email updates, sign up for those free site assessments, sign up for a mass save energy audit, which is not only going to tell you how to kind of tighten up your home and make it more energy efficient, but also helps you potentially get access to that heat loan. And Wayne's going to talk a bit more about that later on in his presentation. If the technologies aren't feasible, you've got a great team on hand to talk to you about other options. And then, of course, utilize that networking effect. Tell your friends and neighbors about the fantastic opportunity, and hopefully maybe adopt these technologies. And so with that, I want to thank you all so much for hearing me out here and learning a bit more about the program. And now I'd like to pass it off to Alex from Solarwolf, who's going to talk to you about the solar PV opportunity under the program and introduce themselves. So thank you again all so much. And Alex.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alex Steele. I am the marketing manager over at Solarwolf Energy. I am joined tonight by my colleagues, our founder and chairman, Ted Strzelecki, our CEO and president, Taylor Bennett, our director of sales, Jeremy Erlinson, and our director of marketing, Mike Collette. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. We're really excited to talk to you guys about what we love so much about solar and answer any questions you might have about the Solarize program. You can go on ahead to the next slide. Awesome, thank you so much. So just a little bit of background on Solarwolf Energy, who we are and what makes us the company we are today. We were founded in 2015 by Ted, and we are now led by our CEO, Taylor Bennett. She just took on the title of CEO and president in 2020, so we're very excited for her. What sets us apart from other solar companies is that we are a turnkey, or what we like to say, white glove PV installer. So we are full service. We take care of all phases of the solar sales and installation process, from marketing and canvassing to the sales process to permitting, applying for interconnection with the utility, getting any engineering done, all design work, and then right all the way down to installation and glass on roof. We do not subcontract anything like that. We provide monitoring for our clients. And we have a lot of experience in many different areas of the construction industry. We are headed up by folks who came from kind of all areas of the construction field, not only solar technology and electrical, but also engineering, carpentry, roofing, masonry, HVAC, plumbing, and many others. So we are really thankful for the opportunity to share our skills with you. You can go on ahead to the next slide. Thank you so much. So just a little bit more background on our growth, on how we got to where we are today. So we have been really rapidly growing since our founding. What really kind of sets us apart from many other companies is we have been able to avoid doing things like undergoing mergers or kind of splitting off or branching off. We've really been able to kind of keep it all in-house. We do our own marketing, we do our own sales, we have our own outbound calls and everything like that. So we do like to kind of call ourselves a unique case in the solar industry. We also have some really great strategic partnerships with leading manufacturers all throughout the country. And that has allowed us to really offer the most competitive and most incentivized rates for the highest quality solar products on the market today. And we're really excited to share those with you folks. Just a little fun fact about us, we were honored to be awarded number 427 in the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies in the United States last year in 2020. We were actually the second fastest growing company in Massachusetts in that case. So we're really proud of that, and we're really excited about that as well. And then we also have another company, RoofWolf. That is our sister company, and they handle any roofing jobs that we need done. So we really have experts, not only in solar and electrical, but also in just roofing and home improvement and home renovation right under the same roof. And that really gives us an advantage. And we're able to deliver that advantage to our clients and the folks we work with. We also have a plumbing branch, AquaWolf, and we are working on opening a nonprofit agency that focuses on securing housing for low-income veterans. So we are working on deploying that in 2021. So digging in a little bit deeper about what we offer and how we are going to deliver it to you folks tonight, or over the course of the Solarize program, I should say, excuse me. So as I said, we are a turnkey solar installer. We specialize in not only rooftop, but also ground mount systems. We can handle residential, commercial, or even the nonprofit space. And there's really nothing too big or too small for us to handle. Like I said before, we handle all phases of system design and engineering. Materials, equipment, and permit procurement are also an area that we really pride ourselves on. We take care of it all, so it's never outsourced or anything like that. All of our construction, installation, and power on is done in-house, and we also handle all monitoring throughout the life of the system for every client that works with us. And then, of course, if there's ever any maintenance or repairs that are needed, we are more than happy to service any warranties. In terms of battery storage, we do offer installation and maintenance for some really excellent brands of solar energy storage. Those can deliver not only great savings, but also really excellent protection to households, no matter what the situation may be with the weather outside or with outages with the utility. And then we also do work with a number of different financing services, whether you're residential, commercial, or nonprofit, we can help out kind of any case. And if you have a tax appetite or not, there are opportunities for you to go solar. Don't think that just because maybe you don't have a tax appetite or you have a fixed income, that means that solar isn't an option for you. It absolutely still can be. You can go on ahead to the next slide. Thank you so much. So just digging a little bit deeper into our credentials, the licenses we hold, we have master electricians on full-time staff, both masters and journeymen licensed in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. We have our home improvement contractors registrations in all states where they are required. We have NABCEP PV installers on staff, as well as a construction supervisor. Our founder and chairman, Ted, is actually a construction supervisor. So, even the gentlemen in the boardroom who are kind of leading the way managerially are also present on the job site, leading the way with our installers and our technicians. And that's something that really sets us apart as well. And I know that you folks do have the historical societies and the historical commissions in Yarmouth. So I just want you all to know that we are very experienced working with a number of different historical commissions, conservation commissions, zoning boards, planning boards, town meetings. We've really attended them all. We have a lot of experience communicating with those agencies, and we're very comfortable navigating those pathways. Excellent. So this is probably my favorite part. We're going to talk a little bit about what we are offering through the Solarize program, kind of what makes it a little bit different from your typical solar offering that you might find if you're just shopping for solar outside of a program like Solarize. So we are really excited to be leading with SunPower modules. You folks may have heard of SunPower before if you're familiar at all with solar technology, especially American solar. SunPower is really the best when it comes to production and efficiency that you can get, really in the world, honestly. Maxion solar cells, it's really something that makes SunPower stand out in the market. They actually produce 60% more energy over an average system lifetime, which is about 25 to 30 years. Their solid copper foundation offers much more strength than a more generic baseline solar panel, and their pure silicone layers offer superior power conversion. And as well as that, there is an anti-reflective coating on the module. So not only are they really efficient because there is very little reflection or albedo occurring on the panels, they also look excellent on really any home. They're very aesthetically pleasing, very sleek, and very discreet as well. So something that's really exciting about SunPower systems is the SunPower SunVault battery. Now the SunPower SunVault battery is something we're really excited to offer. It is something that we are just really excited about because it is in so many ways superior to other solar batteries on the market. Not only can it decrease your grid energy use during peak times, it also allows backup of either essential appliances or just critical appliances. So, you can back up essential critical appliances or more elective appliances, depending on how you want to program it. And they can also stay powered on during storms or outages. So if you are a household where you need to keep medicine cold or you need to keep certain medical machines on, regardless of whether or not there's an emergency and the power is out, you can rest assured that you have battery backup to really keep you online when a disaster or an emergency occurs. And so what is most beneficial to you folks in Yarmouth is the exclusive rates that we are offering to Yarmouth residents through this program. We're really, really happy to be able to offer this to you folks. We are actually able to offer Maxion solar panels at an astounding $2.43 a watt. And we'll talk a little bit more about why that's such an exclusive deal as we get on in the presentation. But our SunVault batteries, we are offering them for $12,500. And that is just an incredible deal for this level of technology. Go right ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you so much. Okay, so a little bit more about how Solarize is really delivering this excellent program to you, and how we are making that happen with our installation skill. So this is really a program like no other. There is really no more affordable way to go solar in Massachusetts than working with Solarize program and an installer like us. So at $2.43 a watt, you folks down in Yarmouth can really get the best deal on solar panels for honestly less than the cost of a generic solar panel install in Massachusetts. The average price for a solar panel install in Massachusetts is $3.12 a watt. Depending on where you are, this is just the average. But the average price for a sun power install, and there is an adder on that because these are very, very high quality panels. It's actually closer to $3.20 to sometimes even $4.50 a watt, depending on where in Massachusetts you are. So as you folks can see, you're really getting an exclusive deal through the Solarize program, and we're very, very excited to be able to deliver that to you folks. The average payback period for a Solarize installation is only about 3.8 years, so about 3 to 4 years, whereas in Massachusetts, the average payback for an installation on that would be outside of the Solarize program would be closer to 7 to 8 years. So it is really a return on investment like no other. And now, if this gets you excited and you're kind of interested in moving forward or learning more about what you can do to go solar and go green, you might want to ask yourself some basic questions just to get started and see if your property would qualify. So the first thing you want to check is to make sure that you are a homeowner. You want to make sure that your roof is either relatively free from obstructions, relatively unshaded, and also if it's southern facing, that's a great advantage. If you have anything like large trees hanging over your roof, would you be open to trimming or removing them if they impact your level of solar? Excuse me, your electricity offset through solar. You might want to take a look at your monthly electricity bill. Is it something that you are trying to cut down? Are you trying to budget to make this a little bit more affordable? Is it something that is interfering with your monthly budgeting? Would you like to do whatever you can to shrink it? I think we probably all would, especially in Massachusetts. The utility rates can be a little bit high. So, anything we can do to really reduce that and also improve our energy efficiency is always great. Having a tax appetite is helpful, but it is not always necessary. There are really great options for folks who do not have a tax appetite or are on a fixed income. But if you have a tax appetite and you're looking for something more like a cash purchase option, having a good tax appetite can be really, really helpful because you can leverage incentives and write-offs during tax time. If your utility offers net metering, you might also be able to take advantage of some other really great incentives that can make solar cash in even more for you and really get you the most bang for your buck through this process. If you are considering an electric vehicle, going solar could really help you kind of offset that increased electricity demand on your property. You may have heard this already, but in 2035, all vehicles sold in Massachusetts will have to be electric vehicles after 2035. This is a new mandate that was just recently passed. So if you are kind of planning for the future and you're thinking about getting an electric vehicle for yourself, having solar on your property can really help offset that increased electricity demand. And we're all going to have to get electric vehicles within the next 15 or so years anyway, so it could be a great time to go ahead and get started. And then finally, if energy efficiency and shrinking your carbon footprint, doing your part to kind of give back to the planet is something really important to you, then going solar could be a really great way to do that. You can go ahead and switch to the next slide. Thank you so much. So I think this is just about where we wrap it up, but we wanted to give you folks just a few examples of kind of our areas of specialty, how our workmanship and talent kind of set us apart from the competition. And so you folks can be confident that you're really in great hands with us and with our installer teams. So we are really, to my knowledge, the only solar installer in the state, and I may be incorrect on that, but we are one of the very few, if that can install on slate roofs. We have some kind of specific and unique experience working with slate roofs. We were able to train our installer teams to work on this very specialized surface. So not only can we install on slate roofs, but we've also worked with clay tile roofs, wood shake. We really aren't afraid to say no to a project because we know that we have the skill and the training to take anything and really make it shine. If you do not have the house for a rooftop system, we can also install ground mounts. We work with a number of really awesome ground mount equipment manufacturers, and we can install some excellent sturdy ground mounts that can offset your electricity needs just as much as a rooftop system could. And we are also very experienced working with unique buildings. So not only just historical buildings or towns, buildings in towns with historic districts, but also a unique architecture, very large buildings, very small buildings, buildings that are maybe not your traditional house, maybe something that's like a shed or something off grid. We've really done it all and we've seen it all. We're not afraid to install really anywhere. And we like a challenge, we like to work on unconventional properties and kind of deliver something that catches the eye more than a standard solar system would. So I want to leave you with our mission statement. It is really our mission to make solar accessible for everyone, forge happy customers everywhere we do business, and leave our planet a better place. And that is what we are really excited to do with the Solarize program. So thank you so much for your time tonight, folks. It was really excellent sharing a little bit about us with you. I'm really excited to be part of this. And that's going to about do it for our presentation. Thank you so much.
And now we're going to pass it over to Wayne from South Shore Climate Control.
How you doing? This is Wayne. I'm president of South Shore Climate Control. I started my career back 22 years repairing appliances and doing HVAC, commercial and residential. In 2014, I did a friend a favor and I installed the mini split system. And after I did that, it just opened new pathways for me. We specialize with air source heat pumps for residential and commercial properties. You can go to the next slide. Basically, put up a couple of slides where your money goes versus the heating, the light, the hot water. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see fossil fuel consumptions for 2019. And then the estimated annual heating costs per heating system on the left-hand side. You can go to the next slide. So basically, my company installs Mitsubishi and Fujitsu systems. I find with both of these brands of mini split units, they can basically go into a house. Like I find that it can be, the aesthetics can be better on one versus the other. Some brands offer a better lineup for multi-zones. And then if you go back there, and then just head configurations with different brands, and I do install both of them. You can go to the next slide. Basically, this is a project on Nantucket, Schultz heat pump project 2018. I installed a 24,000 BTU Fujitsu XLTH, and when they say XLTH for Fujitsu, it means an extra low temperature unit. The customer had oil heat. And basically between 2017 and 2018, she gave me her electric bill and oil bill. And then at the end of 2019, she had a 24% savings with installing air source heat pumps. You can go to the next slide. Basically, summer and fall on 2000 Nantucket. We had Heat Smart Nantucket in 2018. And we had a great event. A lot of people showed up, and I went to a lot of clients' homes, gave them, did site assessments, and gave them proposals. And since 2018, I've built a great relationship with the residents on Nantucket with installing systems for them. You can go to the next slide. There's another project over in Nantucket. This was a 4-zone system, and it had a mix of floor and wall units. Basically trying to match the aesthetics downstairs by putting the floor unit over in the kitchen in the corner, and then up in the great room, we put it high above the window. You can go to the next slide. Project in New Orleans, Mass. Basically, same type of system that I was telling you before about an extra low temperature unit. On this project, we installed 2 floor heaters. You can go to the next slide. Another project, we had a 4-zone system, sorry, that we installed in Sandwich, Mass. The customer did have oil heat, and we were able to save them a tremendous amount of money on running these heat pumps. You can go to the next slide. All right. Latest project over in Nantucket was the Garfalo project. Here we installed, they had electric resistance heat, and we installed a 45,000 BTU 5-zone system. And we put all 4 units. We put a central controller in the second picture you can see, and that way you can control all the units in one place. Basically, you can set the central controller for, say, 70 degrees, and then you can go into the room, and then you can have an individual comfort by a remote control. But that just makes it a lot easier to have a central controller. You can set them all and go up in the rooms to change them with a remote. And we used copper drain lines for aesthetics, also on that project. You can go to the next slide. Basically, equipment elevation and base options on all my outdoor equipment. I elevated by means of stand or blocks, pressure treated wood. We do that for the anticipated snow level on Cape Cod and the Islands, which is 12 inches. I also, on all my projects, install a base for the unit to sit on, and that's either by crushed stone, pressure treated wood, or a concrete pad. You can go to the next slide. Basically, that just gives you the Mitsubishi, the Hyperheat series on the right, their configurations, and on Fujitsu on the left. They offer wall units, ceiling cassettes, floor units, a variety of options. You can go to the next slide. Historic District submission. This is a project over for the Visitor Center on Nantucket. And we had to disguise the unit by putting bushes and a cedar lattice with a cedar enclosure against the building. Basically, over in Nantucket in its entirety, they all are a historic district over there. So every project we do on Nantucket, we submit to the Historic District Commission. Myself, I perform 3D drawings, I collect the locus map, site plan, and then submit photographs for the elevation cardinal points for the submission to them. You can go to the next slide. And like I was talking about before with Heat Smart Nantucket on June 9th, we had a great event. We had another one at Bartlett Farms, and then we had lastly one at the Nantucket Hotel. Great turnout. It's great people over there. And basically, the customers over there, I've built lifelong relationship with them, and great people to deal with. And it was a great program over there, and we'll continue that. And I look forward to the Yarmouth program. You can go to the next slide. And that's the rebates. And Lisa went over that earlier with you, basically telling you it's $12.50 per ton. That's when you offset with propane or oil. With electric heat, you basically have to show kilowatt an hour difference between 3 winter months and 3 spring months. I can fully go over with this with a client and show them what they can get for a rebate. These rebates are good through December 31st, 2021. My company, I will submit all the rebates for my customers, and I do take care of the paperwork. Basically, you can go to the next slide too. The air source heat pumps right for me. I basically, we go over to a house, see the configuration of it. I do buildings from the 1700s to brand new, buildings being built. It's been a great program. It's been a great run with doing the air source heat pumps for customers. With the loans that Cape Cod 5 offers, basically customers have to go and get a mass save energy audit performed, and then they get a heat intake form. And then what the contractor does is submit their proposal to the customer. They submit it over to mass save for approval. Once they have approval, then they will send that over to a bank, which is Cape Cod 5, which we are, have been using, and they have been great with me on Nantucket and great with me on Cape Cod. And the loan process is usually quick, and that's how it works on that end. Okay, you can go to the next slide. And I think that's it. All right, well, I thank everybody for viewing my PowerPoint, and I look forward to going to your house and doing a site visit and getting you on the path of a greener future. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. I think we're going to open up, pass it over to Joyce to go over the questions that are coming in through the chat. So I'll pass it over to Joyce. And what I'll also do now is just drop you to the contact info slide as well, so folks can see how to get in touch with the program. And in a few minutes also, Jason is going to send a link into the chat that you can learn a bit more about how to get in contact with the installers.
Hey, thank you, Lisa. We have several questions here. The first is for Solarwolf. Does the cost for the battery include its installation?
I'd actually like to say that does include the installation.
Oh, that's an easy one then. Thank you.
No problem.
Then we've got one for Wayne, and this is the question for Wayne. What is the maximum number of heads that can be handled by one outside compressor?
Fujitsu, it's a 5-zone unit. They do also make the units for branch boxes. Mitsubishi, that you can do 8 units as well. What I recommend is, either a 4-zone, 5-zone for Fujitsu, 3-zone. You can do the you can do the branch box on Mitsubishi as well. When you start getting into branch boxes and doing that type of work, the price does increase quite a bit.
Okay, thank you. Then the next question is also for Solarwolf. What kinds of incentives are available for purchase of the SunVault battery?
So the SunVault battery actually still falls in line for the 26%, as long as it is actually charged by a solar PV system. I do believe it has to be charged by the solar system about 75% of the time for qualify for the 26%. There is also the connected solutions that we mentioned that they can pay you as long as you opt in. This is something, if somebody wanted to get into more detail, it depends on what battery you have, how much you opt into. That would probably be a conversation for more one-on-one.
Then just a follow-up comment on that. We've had a number of people speak about mass save, both in connection with Solarwolf and also with Wayne from South Shore Climate Control. Here on the Cape, when you're looking for mass save, you would go to the Cape Light Compact. So that's where you'd go for your audit, and then you'd have eligibility for the mass heat loan if you wanted, or eligibility for the rebates, because those have to be processed after an energy audit. The energy audit's free, or more precisely, you've already paid for it on your electric bill, so you should take it. And there are other free weatherization incentives and insulation incentives that are included with that. Okay, speaking of the Cape Light Compact, the mass heat loan does apply not to the solar panels, but it does apply to the solar battery. So if you're seriously thinking of a battery, that's something that you would want to investigate. Okay, we have another question. Let's see. Wayne, if I have gas for my home, this is the air source heat pump solution not right for my home at this time?
No, it's right for your home. What I found is with gas, it depends on what type of system you have there for, if it's forced hot water. Basically, they're efficient. When you get down to about 15 degrees or 10 degrees, natural gas will be a little more efficient. That's what I've found. Basically, if you're comparing the cost of electricity with a high efficiency boiler, but besides that, but when you're taking into a factor like 30 degrees, 20 degrees, 40 degrees, the air source heat pumps will definitely be safer on your energy bills.
Okay, next question is for Solarwolf. Can you compare the panels to others on the market, for example, Tesla panels?
So one of the misconceptions is that Tesla actually has their own panels. At this point in time, I do believe they're using Hanwha, which in all rights is its own great panel. We actually used to use them before we partnered up with SunPower. One of the reasons we moved to SunPower is because they're completely all exclusive. Like the actual panels themselves, the cells, the company makes them specifically for them. There's 3 actual cell manufacturers in the world. Maxion actually works directly with SunPower, no one else. They also integrate all their own pieces. Their microinverters are their own. They use their own racking. They have their own battery, where it's not where you're mixing matching items. The Hanwha 340 is a 19% efficient. The SunPower panel is 21.1. You also get into the degradation over the years. The majority of the panels degrade at 0.5 per year, year after year for the 25 years. SunPower is degrade at half that. You're looking at panels in the other category, about 10 years in, they're about 93 efficient. With a SunPower panel, you're looking at 92% efficiency after 25 years. It's just a superior product and why we partnered with them. And we're glad to offer them to you guys.
Can I just ask a follow-up to that? Can you describe the warranty on the panels and say the inverter?
So the microinverters and the panels from SunPower actually have a 25-year inclusive warranty, which isn't just the panel, the product, and the power, it's also the service. So everything is warranted on this.
Okay. Let's see, then our next one is for Wayne, and let's see. You're talking about heat pumps and compressor used without ducts. How would you advise a homeowner whose home already has ducts?
You already have ductwork. There are certain brands out there like Bosch. They make a system called the Vobra that you can actually, and it's a central heat pump, and you can install a system like that. But with air source heat pumps, with them trying to work it into your existing ductwork, I don't advise it. Basically, when you have a central duct system, it was designed specifically for your home, and the air source heat pumps, it's a whole different animal when you get into design for those.
Okay, next question, Solarwolf. What is the average cost for solar PV on a 3-bedroom home that has electricity bills that average $100 a month?
What we would ask is that somebody puts in for a site assessment. No 2 homes are the same, and no 2 homes usage are the same. We could have the same size home 3, 4 in a row, and families use power different ways. Could be different shadings, and just different azimuths all around. The sun is going to be different on one roof to it is the next. So it's not something that we can blanket answer, and that's why we do site assessments and do custom builds for everybody's home.
Okay, and can I just ask you for our audience to define azimuth?
Oh, azimuth is basically in relation to the sun. Obviously, we want to be aiming as south as possible with the panels if we can. Obviously, we work up to east-west roofs and things like that. It just comes into each roof plane and angle can be different, and we'd want to, present you with the correct numbers.
Okay. Next question is also for Solarwolf. Can you add on to a house with existing panels? And then this is sad to read, which are not meeting our needs.
If someone has a system on their home right now, in certain cases, we can add, but we may have to add a second system. A lot of the systems that are on roofs are tied to incentive programs now. So we may have to add something additional. But again, it's case by case and we'd need to see what we could do.
Okay. Then the next question is for Wayne. From someone who has resistance electric heat, can I keep my resistance electric heat as a backup and still qualify for the heat pump rebate and zero interest loan, or must it be removed?
Nope, you can absolutely keep it. Basically, when we do that, we have my electrician go over there and he looks at your panel. Sometimes with existing panels, say if you had a 100 amp panel, I'm sorry, 200 amp panel, but it was full, and they had to put tandem breakers in. I don't like to remove electric heat out of bathrooms, certain areas like that, because you can't put a mini split in the bathroom. So I basically, yeah, it is a good idea to keep electric resistance heat in place as long as you have the capacity for it.
Okay, thank
And
you.
oh, I'm sorry, and they do not frown upon that either. You do not have to remove your electric heat.
Okay. Then we have a general question. Are any local Cape Cod banks offering special rates terms for solar financing?
Absolutely. Cape 5 has stepped up and said that they have an offer for the locals that they would like to offer. It is 3.75%, which I'll tell you in the offerings that we've seen out there, it's unbelievable that they've stepped up to do this for you guys. So if that's something that is looking for financing, I would definitely say to reach out to Cape 5.
Okay, great. Let's see. The next question is for Solarwolf. I think you have already covered this, but the question is, does Solarwolf do turnkey on smart payments paperwork?
Yes, we take care of all the paperwork. Obviously, there's going to be some stuff that we would have to have electronic signatures from a customer, but as far as dealing with, the paperwork and things like that, we do submit it and everything for the customers.
Okay. Then the next question's also for Solarwolf. Does monitoring extend for the life of a solar system?
So in most cases, the system comes with a 10-year monitoring. There are things you can do to extend it after that.
Oh, okay. And let's see, we have another one now for Solarwolf. It sounds wary. Does Solarwolf do a GPS first on a home and only come to the home if it looks like the roof siding and the amount of shade are looking good?
So actually, one of the people that reached out about the program said she wasn't sure if her roof was good for solar. I asked her for her address. We used some satellite imagery. So I build the trees, the roof, and then we run basically a 365-day simulation to see what the roof would look like. If it's not going to make sense for solar, we'll let them know. Luckily, this woman's roof did look like it's going to be good for solar, and we're going to head out and see her.
Okay. Next one's also for Solarwolf. Does each panel have its own inverter so that if one panel's slightly shaded, the rest of the panels will be functional?
Yes, the SunPower panels have the microinverters that are actually built into the module. So they're not a separate piece. They're actually part of the panel, and it's called a module because it actually is the panel and the microinverter.
Okay. Let's see. Next one also for Solarwolf. Are you willing to work with homeowners in some non-traditional solar applications, such as solar canopies or solar shingles?
So as far as the solar shingles, I would actually advise most people to steer away at this point in time. The cost, outside of the look, the cost is very, very expensive and the efficiency is very low. So we would probably steer people towards panels. Solar canopies are some we can work with if you're talking about carports. Obviously you saw earlier that we do the ground mounts.
Mhm.
We will work with people, and like I said, I mean, if somebody wants to do a special project and has something else in mind, yeah, as long as it can be installed, we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Now let me just go up and make sure that I haven't missed any here.
And while Joyce is looking, I just want to plug a little reminder that Jason shared a link in the chat earlier. So if folks are interested in getting site visits from these installers, definitely fill out that contact form so that you can get in touch with the installers and we can track that. Or of course, visit the solaryarmouth.org website or get in touch at solaryarmouth+ Gmail. And there's also a phone number as well if you prefer a phone to get in touch with the volunteer team. So just wanted to put in a plug for that.
Okay. We have another question here. This is a kind of complicated one. I want a photovoltaic installation and a storage battery. The battery to act as emergency power for some essential functions during power outages. Can I have an installation with one part dedicated to the emergency battery and the rest to regular use and possible net metering?
It didn't necessarily sound all that difficult. It basically sounded like they're looking for a solar installation with a battery. The battery would actually be set up to a critical loads, which would be, emergency items in your home that you'd want to run in the case of a power outage. Again, I'd love to speak with that person if they want to reach out and set up a site assessment. We can go over exactly how this would work for them.
Okay, and now we have some new questions here. Okay, Wayne, this one is for you. What are the operation and maintenance issues with air source heat pumps? And does this company offer a contract that will take care of this?
Yes, we do. I advise, well, from the beginning, when I, at the turnkey, when we do our system commissioning, I show the customer how to change the filter, basically advise them to check the filter every 3 weeks. It depends if they have pets, it all depends on the living conditions, because some people wouldn't have to change, clean the filter for, 3 weeks to 4 months. But what I offer is after 1 year of installation that I would come to the home and do a preventive maintenance, and there are contracts available for that. But definitely 100% maintenance is key to keeping these units working 100% efficient.
Okay, and now we have a question about financing. What is the 0% loan for 7 years versus the Cape Cod 5 loan? The 0% loan is from the Mass Heat Loan Program. It's Mass and then HEAT, all capitalized. You qualify for that by having a residential audit, and you go through the audit procedure, and then you qualify to have an intake form done. You have the intake form done and it's presented for a loan. If you're qualified for the loan, financially and credit record and all that, then what happens is that Mass Save, and on the Cape, that would be the Cape Light Compact, pays down the interest rate to 0% for a loan that can be from Cape Cod 5 or from one of a number of other banks on the Cape. I know certainly Rockland Trust does it, and there are probably 15 banks statewide that offer these. They're a little bit of extra paperwork, so it's not all banks, but it's enough banks to shop around. So that requires you to have the home energy audit first. And the important thing to do is if you want that, sign up for that immediately and then start looking at the Solarize PVs or heat pumps, things you want to kind of have those come together at a good time. You have a slight wait for the audit because there's always a couple weeks wait, but you can speed that up by putting yourself down on the open list for cancellations by somebody else. The Cape Cod 5 loan is the 3.75%, and I'll let somebody else give the details about that. I think it's been pretty much covered, but just to be sure, we could go over it again.
I can jump in and say I don't necessarily know the details of the loan specifically, but I think the important thing I can point out is that the 0% 7 years for up to 25,000 loan is exclusively for air source heat pumps.
Yeah, it is.
And what can be done by Cape Cod 5, like you said, and then Cape Cod 5 will also offer a solar loan product, and then that one, the 3 point, looks like Jim's posting something in here, 3.25% for 15 years. And that's for PV only. So just so that nobody's confused, you can't get the 0% loan for PV, unfortunately. So I just wanted to make sure you knew.
And the 0% loan is for 7 years, and it's up for up to $25,000. So there is that maximum on it.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. We have another question here from someone who has a generator. And this is, would the installation of PV panels interfere in any way with an existing generator providing standby power to essential circuits?
Depending on how the generator is set up, in some cases, they're going to have an auto transfer switch, and in other times, it's going to have a regular standard transfer switch. When the PV notices the power goes down, it actually goes into a rapid shutdown and shuts itself down. At that point in time, if you have an auto transfer switch, it would notice the loss of power and turn the generator on. It would work seamlessly. If you had a regular transfer switch, you'd have the power go down and you would have to wait.
Sorry, there was just a little bit of static. Could you repeat the last sentence there? I'm not sure everybody heard it.
Yep, if you have a manual transfer switch, you would actually have to, if the power goes down, you would have to go and transfer the manual transfer switch.
Okay. Now we have a follow-up question from the person who asked the question about the inverters. Are we able to see the statistics for the individual panels?
Statistics for individual panels? Yes, I bring a brochure with us and I can go over the panels when we have them. Yes, absolutely.
I'm not sure, but that question, yeah, and the questioner can write in the chat if I'm not getting this right. I think the questioner might have been, somebody who is actively interested in examining on a daily basis how his individual panels were
yes,
operating.
that would actually be through the monitoring app. You'd have access to the monitoring app for the 10 years.
Okay, good. Let's see. Okay. Are the panels safe in case of fire? Are there any home insurance issues with PV?
So the only thing I tell everybody that actually installs is to check with their insurance company to see if it's something that would be covered or something that they need to add for any incidentals and stuff like that. The warranty on the panels themselves is going to be for anything, that's production related on their end. If something happens outside of, somebody happens to throw a baseball that, breaks a panel, that's not going to be something that's covered under warranty and things like that.
Okay. Now, the next piece in chat is a little mysterious. It says 36K, and that's all it says.
All right.
If we have anyone who wants to interpret that, you're welcome. If not, if the questioner maybe elaborated a little on the comment there, we might be able to shed some light. Or since it's sent to everyone, it might be that person was trying to make a consumer suggestion to the audience, but I'm just not sure. Okay. We might have them all. I'll just do one quick run through again. Oh, two more. Okay. Sorry, wrong window. That apparently was about the 36K. Is the 10-year monitoring for someone at Solarwolf to monitor, or is it the actual data acquisition system?
The monitoring is actually for both. We monitor it here, as well as there would be a portal and an application for the customer to check as well. we'd be alerted. In some cases, so I will say a lot of people, when they first get their solar system, they're checking the monitoring app every day, multiple times a day. As time goes on, a lot of people stop monitoring it as much. We get alerts here and we make sure that we try and be on top of your system in case anything comes up.
Oh, I have a brother-in-law who has never stopped monitoring his system. It's every mealtime we get the announcement. Okay. What if my roof needs to be replaced in the future? What kind of planning do I need to be prepared for to take the panels off, replace the roof, and put the panels back on? Costs? Question mark.
So when it's time to do a roof, I would say to give us a call. We also have a sister roof company. The panels do need to come down. They will need to go back on. You will need us to do it to make sure that the warranty stays intact. It does depend on the actual home, things like that, but it is something that can be taken care of at the same time as the roof is being done.
Okay, then we have two people asking essentially the same question here. Will the customer have an ability to monitor beyond the 10 years? I assume that there's an extension possible with that.
After the 10 years, there are custom and different options available to the client. There are things in the future that we'd have to take into consideration that are beyond our control. Right now, they're using the 3G system. I don't know, like we have 5G now. I don't know what's going to be in the future. And there are other custom, installs where in some cases it can be hardwired.
Okay, and if that answers your question, you two questioners, that's fine. But if you want to ask a follow-up, just pop it into the chat. Okay, now here's a question from someone who knows that we operate in the empire of N-Star. How long after you finish a project will the utility take to give permission to operate?
Not being the utility, they do have technically, I want to say 10 days. I will have to say the utility is usually not jumping up and down for us to move forward, as they are losing a customer every time we sign somebody up to go solar. But we do try and stay on them and make it happen as fast as we possibly can.
Okay. And then I know for some of our town's installations through CVEC, the Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooperative, CVEC finally took N-Star to a mediation procedure to get things going when they were just not going anywhere. Is that possible on the level of residential installations or small business installations, or is that just something that municipalities have access to?
What was that again?
There's a mediation process that our town and the Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooperative used when N-Star had just dragged its feet on some large town installations that had been completed but still weren't connected and given the permission to connect. I was just wondering if there's any sort of parallel appeal for small installations with homeowners and small business owners.
Commercial installations are going to be a bit different than residential. Once they get the PTO permission to operate, they are at a 10-day window. Like I said, in some cases they drag towards the end. Again, we do try and push as much as we can to get that done as fast as possible.
Okay. Now, if we have any other questions, pop them in quickly, because it looks like we're out of questions otherwise, and I'll assume that everyone has 100% absorption of the information.
There were two battery-related questions that I don't think we got to. One was what the size of the battery is. And I think another one also asked if the power goes down, are you still connected? We might have indirectly talked about that before, but maybe that's one to address.
The battery we are offering is a 13 kW. And ultimately the solar PV will charge the batteries if the power is out. As long as the sun comes up each and every day, you will get some charge to that battery, which ultimately, if you're out for numerous days, is the real goal there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And just if there is a question on that, if it's a large building, does Solarwolf offer a larger battery?
You can go with 2 batteries for the 26 kilowatts.
Okay. Then we have one more question down here. Let's see. If a homeowner is looking to convert from gas to oil, is a solar panel installation in conjunction with the splits installation going to be the more green and less expensive way to proceed? Electric heat is better. Generally, we are told gas is better. For a 1,200 square foot home or a 1,600 square foot home, for example, I'm eventually looking to install a generator, so no heat and electricity loss during traditional power losses. How is solar battery backup a help? Before Solarwolf and Wayne jump into that, I'd just point out that there's this new direction in attempting to get energy greener and healthier and more sustainable. And that's what's called strategic electrification, where it used to be a question of moving people to the fossil fuel that burned and released fewer emissions. Now, since renewable energy is going to be very abundant, not just individual roofs, but also when you think about the offshore wind installations, there's a move to put everything onto the electric system, including cars, because that will be the greenest way forward. But I think that the answers from Solarwolf and from Wayne from South Shore Climate Control will give you, like, the details, the complications, the how you would do it. But that's why there is a changed message. You're not imagining it. Gas used to be recommended, but now strategic electrification is the way to get off fossil fuels, and a lot is being framed around that. Okay, Solarwolf, Wayne, whichever one wants to go first.
Want to go ahead?
Sure. So one of the things, obviously, as you're installing heat pumps and things like that, you're going to see, in most cases, a rise in your electric bill. Your roof is going to determine the size of your solar system. There's also net metering policies in play and things like that for sizing. And depending on what you're using for power, when you go solar, you're investing in a system that provides you power. The power that comes off that system is actually free for you to use. Depending on what the system can provide you and what you're using, you could possibly net out a zero for your usage. Now, if you're over that amount, you're going to your utility as your backup for any additional power that you may need to use. Turning your power into something that actually has a return on investment versus just continuing to pay someone, to provide you something over and over is where the real magic happens. And again, your solar system can provide you a finite amount of actual power to use, depending on your roof and things like that. When you install mini splits, in a lot of cases, you may use more. Sometimes your roof will afford you the space that we can actually cover that as well. It's going to be case by case. It's going to be home by home. This is why we're setting up the site inspections and seeing what we can do for you guys.
Okay.
I agree with that. It is home by home, basically our value of the home made with the insulation and all that. But heat pumps, basically, they do operate off electricity, but it's basically reversing the refrigerant flow, okay? Now they're coming out, they have heat pump dryers, they have heat pump hot water heaters. And they do run off electricity, but it costs a lot less to run and does not have a carbon footprint like propane and gas.
Okay, and a follow-up question, since that was really to everybody. Would Solarwolf and South Shore Climate Control, if somebody wanted to do heat pump installation that would be powered by a solar installation on the roof, you all would coordinate on that, right?
Well, 100%.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay. let's see, we have from the person who asked the safety question earlier, we have a thank you. We have a follow-up question on the battery. Can you say who makes the battery?
SunPower, it's actually the SunVault.
So it's the same company that makes the panels.
Yes, that's one of the reasons we love working with SunPower is because they have their panels, they have their microinverters, they have their racking, they have their battery, and it's all meant to work together and integrate well.
Okay. As someone who has put together computers from leftover parts made by different makers, I see a certain wisdom to that.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Here's a question on re-roofing a home with solar panels already installed. Who is responsible for removing and reinstalling the panels after re-roof?
You'd want to contact us. We would need to do that to make sure to keep your warranty intact.
Okay. And just as a guideline, people might find it helpful if you gave a sense of the number of years of roof life that make it worth putting on solar before putting on a new roof.
So a couple of the questions we ask when we're doing our interviews and things like that is when did you last have the roof done? And one of the reasons we do the site inspections is to take a look at the roof as well. When we, do move forward, we come out. In most cases, we'll send a drone up to take some photos. We want to make sure the roof is in good condition. If the roof needs to get done in order for the solar to go forward, there are incentives to doing that at the same time. But again, that is a case by case.
Okay. Now, I'm not seeing any other questions, so if you have one, pop it in fast. But I think we've covered many aspects of heat pumps and solar installations, and we're probably full of knowledge for the night.
So one thing I did want, and I say that I saw, is somebody asked if they're planning on getting an EV. I did want to let you guys know that another thing we can install at the time is actually an EV charger if someone chooses. That is something that also we need to see what the electrical components of the house are, but an EV charger, if you're trying to be ready for the future, is something we can install as well.
Approximately how much would the EV charger itself run? I realize that it may involve, an upgrade to electricity, a different circuit panel. Some of it's going to be how far it is from the circuit panel, but say like not installed yet. What's the equipment price?
So that is 100% why I would say it's going to be something that we'd have to see the house, things like that. We give installation prices because we're white glove. We give a total cost with permits, with installation, everything along that line. It's not as simple as just firing out, here's a part price, because it's going to vary home to home. Like you said, depends on location, depends on panel, firing out a number at this point in time is not going to be for everybody. So when someone's in a home and finds out they want to do an EV charger, I'd like to let you know it is something we do.
Okay, now we have two new questions here. Let's see. Oh, well, one is from Lisa Dobbs. Great questions, everyone. Thank you. So, applause to the people of Yarmouth who ask good questions. And then we have a thank you from a viewer who asked about roofs. And now I expect the next things in the chat will be your welcomes, and we could go back and forth all night.
I want to say thank you for the questions as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, the more questions you ask, the more we can, educate.
Okay. And there is a form there in chat if you want to submit preliminary contact information to pursue any of these questions further, or to start moving toward an installation. And Solar Coach Mike Duffy has up our big Solarize Yarmouth sign here that gives you website, Gmail, phone, and also reminds you that there's the link in the chat. So you have 4 different possible ways of getting in touch should you feel the urge. Okay, hand it back to Lisa, our host, and it's possible that our solar coach might want to say a few things in closing.
Yeah, I think I was just going to pass it off to Mike. Joyce, thank you so much for directing us through those questions. A lot of fantastic questions out there. Got all the contact information here. Hopefully you'll find the best method for you, whether you want to get right to the installers or if you want to maybe learn a little bit more about the program or maybe get in touch with your solar coach, Mike. But yeah, thank you all again. I think I'll pass it off to Mike to see if he has anything to say to close out. Mike, I think you're talking, but you're muted.
I did mute myself. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Joyce. And thank you to Solarwolf and South Shore Coastal Climate Control. I'm sorry about that, Wayne. I don't know why I got that coastal down there. But anyway, thank you both for those comprehensive presentations and answering of the questions. To our attendees, if we were unable to answer your question, or if you would like to schedule a site assessment, you can click on the link in the chat box to open the Google form, I think, or you can visit our website, email us, or use the telephone to call us, as you see on the slide that's up there right now. We appreciate your participation, and we hope you'll take advantage of this outstanding opportunity by signing up for a no-cost, no-obligation site assessment from one of our installers. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and please stay safe and be well.